What is PUBG Mobile? All right. Well, what PUBG Mobile is today is not what it was even a few days ago. Since the update 3.0 drop, it really got me questioning where the game sits right now. All right, we have a lot to get through, but first, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want you guys to comment what is PUBG Mobile to you. We're gonna see a lot of paragraphs on this one. Can't wait to read them all. So let's go ahead and hop in. Update 3.0 is introducing two mechanics to the game that have obviously never been in the game before, but they're more or less a direct copy from other games. PUBG Mobile was always the front runner. They were the trendsetters. And not just PUBG Mobile, just the PUBG IP in general. They're the ones who set the bar as high as it is for Battle Royale games. You know, last team or last player alive wins the match, right? You jump off the plane, you land, you get your gear, last one to survive wins. It's interesting because it's a survival game just as much, if not more, than it is a shooter game. Okay, that's more or less what PUBG is. Now, they're introducing a mechanic that's, again, never been in the game before, and it's Gulag. All right, we know that Gulag is coming. It would make sense if there was no recall system in the game and they introduce something like Gulag. You know, maybe they'll name it something else that's obviously already been done before in gaming. You know, like Warzone is a great example of that. There's currently 3 recall systems. I might even be missing one. The first one is the recall towers. I was really anti-recall towers when they first came to the game. All right, I was that old school, you know, you get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So it was recall towers, okay? And then, you know, I got behind it. I said, okay, cool. You know, you die early, your squad's still alive, you got to wait 30 minutes. You know, they're playing, you know, you die in the very beginning. It sucked. The recall towers I thought were necessary. Then they introduced like the tokens. If you hot drop, it would encourage that because in case you died, you didn't get a gun, whatever, you know, you got beat by somebody better, you have a chance to automatically recall, come back, drop a little safer, and you can, you know, continue your game. So wait, you know, player retention, you know, that's what the game, you know, they have to have players. So I was cool with that. Then they also have, which to me is the best system, okay, which is the ID cards. Now, it's not in any classics though. It's only in payload, and to me, I think it's the best. I think it's the best version of bringing somebody back. It's not only the most, you know, realistic. I mean, how realistic is the game now these days? But it's the most realistic thing. You know, where you know, say you're in school, you know, you end up getting a squad wipe. You know, all 3 of your teammates are dead. You go to their boxes, you pick up their ID card, you take the ID card to a recall tower, and you bring them back. So I think that's the most fair. You know, people can't camp recall towers. You know, there's a lot of good things about it. So now they're going to introduce a 4th way for you to come back to the game, and I just don't like. It's not PUBG. Gulag is not PUBG. You know, that's attached to other games. The next one, which a lot of people complain about, this one I truly don't have an issue with. And I don't think it's necessarily an identity crisis. I think it's just kind of like a sign of the times, which is skins. People are always, you know, bitching and moaning about skins. Is PUBG Mobile is free to play. All right, they don't bombard you when you log into the game, you know, like other games where you just have 50 million pop-ups every time you exit out. Once you log into the game, you might get 1 or 2 pop-ups just letting you know about events and things like that. You click off, you can play the game for 15 hours, and you'll never get another pop-up again when you're cycling through your matches. So as far as the skins, I mean, a lot of the collabs are really, really cool. They're really fun, especially when they do the really, you know, the real big collabs. I mean, from the different car companies, you know, to the, you know, just the various skins. You know, they've done Angry Bird. I mean, they've done everything. Resident Evil. So I really do enjoy the different skins that come to the game, the different gun labs. So I don't have an issue with it because what's nice about it is it's a skill-based game. It always has been. There's no pay-to-win aspect to the game, which someone who spends money on the game like me, or if you're watching this and you're free to play, it's not going to take away from the enjoyment of the game as a whole. All right. So I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with the skins. At face value, another thing that changed the game when they introduced like the Minecraft Robloxy aspect of the game, which is World of Wonder. And the biggest issue in the game, and it makes me sick. I'm nauseous that I'm constantly talking about it, which is there's a huge issue with matchmake ranking, where you can't get into certain matches. That there's 7 beautiful maps. People refuse to play all but one, which is obviously a wrangle. You know, is that a dev issue? Is that the player base issue? To me, I think it's a little bit of both. But when you introduce something like WoW and how massive and endless it is, that's not helping the issue that every player is facing, which is trying to get into a match other than a wrangle or other than Livik. You know, and it just doesn't make any sense why there's 7 maps. And what makes it even worse is the likelihood of another map coming to the game is that much more further away. You know, PUBG PC has 10 maps in the game, but they do it right. They have maps on a rotation. Nobody wants to play anything else. It's so... If you couldn't tell, it's so frustrating to me that people literally only want to play one map. I mean, people that have been playing the game for 5 years will still only want to play a wrangle. You know, I get it. A wrangle is an amazing map, but there's also a lot of other great maps, but people refuse to play them. Half refuse, half just can't get into the match. And a lot of that is because of how much other stuff is going on in the game, which leads me to this homestead feature that was also announced in update 3.0, where you're going, again, we still don't know much about it, but if it's anything like we've seen in other games, I mean, it's like a mix now between PUBG, Warzone, Roblox, Minecraft, and now like SimCity. Like it's so frustrating. And not to mention, they also have not that I'm against it. Then you also have another game in the game, which is Metro. You have Metro Royale as well. And then we scratch our heads. We wonder why it takes so long to get into matches that aren't a wrangle or Livik. And that's why, because there's just so many moving parts going on in the game. And then you have low. I'm going to make another video about this, about low-end device players and some of the issues that that's causing. Then you have low-end device players that are like, bro, I have no space on my phone for this game. All I can do is download the default map. I can't even download anything else, you know, because I have a low-end device. You know, that's what all the comments say. As much as they want to download the maps, they can't because the game is just too big now. And that's why I think there's a huge identity crisis going on in the game. And update 3.0 doesn't seem to be, I mean, it's adding new features. Look, I know I'm kind of all over the place. Just try to keep up. But I totally get it. Games have to innovate. They have to, you know, keep up, you know, with all the different changes, you know, the different player bases. They don't just want to, I'm not saying they can't make any changes. I'm not anti any changes. But when there's core issues going on in the game, when we're talking about the bread and butter, which is this right here, what you're watching, the Battle Royale aspect of the game, which is what started this whole thing. When you have core mechanical issues, when we're talking about things like, you know, desync, you know, we have, you know, the different ping spike issue. We still have hill glitch in the game. Hill glitch, believe it or not, is still a thing in the game since season 1. And then when they're constantly, I'll set this play again. I didn't realize it was going to go this long. And then when they're constantly adding new things, they're adding new things, but they're not fixing the core issues to the point to where, is the game even recognizable from what it used to be? And it to me, it's not. You know, I've been here since the very beginning. You know, I wasn't making content at the very beginning, but I've been here since season 1. Before, I don't even think, was it even called season 1? So I want to know what you guys think. But what is this? What is the solution here? Am I the only one who's not a fan of a fourth recall system being Gulag. Am I the only one who's not a fan of this homestead feature? Think of the time, how much time it's going to take away from people queuing up to play the Battle Royale version to build, their house or a yacht, with this homestead feature. So let's get some feelers out there. I want to know what you guys think about this kind of like low-key identity crisis that PUBG Mobile is facing, because this is not the same game that it was when we all had first started playing. It's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. I just don't know if it's for the better.